Registeel is out, and it's going to have Zap Cannon as well as a Shadow form coming out. So today we're going to break down this Pokemon, its strengths and weaknesses in Pokemon Go, and is the Shadow going to be better to be able to catch multiple of them? Is it going to work well or better for the Great League, Ultra League, or the Master League? We're going to check that out in today's video. So you know what time it is? Let's get into the video. So we do have Registeel. If you guys want more raid battles, check the comments below, jump to the Discord, or you can jump into the Patreon to get more premier access. However, let's check out Registeel, and if there are things in this video that you are not interested in, please check the timestamps. You can skip around anywhere. You can go to PvP, you can skip over PvP, you can go to meta attackers, and so forth. Registeel is going to be an all steel type Pokemon. It does not max out too high. It actually maxes out at 2766 with an attack value of 143, a defense of 285, and a stamina of 190. This Pokemon is obviously a very more focused in defense type Pokemon, which is going to serve very well for Pokemon Go's Go Battle League. And it's going to have 3 weaknesses only, which is very advantageous to this Pokemon, which is going to be ground, fire, as well as fighting. And then as far as its resistances, it has quite a few, including a double resistant to poison. So great Pokemon to be able to go after poison Pokemon to be able to take that. But also this Pokemon is going to be single resistant to Bug, Dragon, Fairy, Flying, Grass, Ice, Normal, Psychic, Rock, and Steel. So holy goodness gracious, this is a very resistant Pokemon, which is extremely beneficial for it. So as far as its movesets go, which is very going to be important here, it can get Lock On, Rock Smash, as well as Metal Claw, Focus Blast, Hyper Beam, as well as Flash Cannon, and then it can also get a legacy move of Zap Cannon, which can be caught with it right now. So with that said, what are we going to do with this Pokemon? We're going to check out the ER value. We're going to add in the Shadow and see how well this Pokemon does do as far as a Steel type meta attacker. Obviously we have Meta Metagross and we have Shadow Metagross that we have to go up against. So we're going to check that out today and see where it does sit against itself, how much stronger it does get. We'll get into the Steel type category, and then we're going to start talking about PvP and seeing where the Shadow does stack up against the regular one. So let's get into the best moveset for this Pokemon for a meta attacker standpoint right now. Alright, so looking at the Shadow Registeel, we have Metal Claw and Hyper Beam as its most highly producing DPS times TDO moveset at 25.13. Then if we want to see it with Focus Blast, 24.86, and then with Flash Cannon and Metal Claw, it's 24.77, and Zap Cannon, 24.51, in comparison to the regular Registeel at 22.13, which is exactly 3 points below the Shadow form. So if we're looking at this Pokemon, when we're talking about meta attackers, usually guys, especially when we used to go DPS times TDO and we were going in the thousands, but now the ER value is basically taking off 2 of those zeros, and we need to be looking at around 35 plus 40, 45 would be a very viable raid attacker. However, this Pokemon is sitting at its strongest, and it's not Steel typing, at 25. So unfortunately, this Pokemon is not crazy here as far as a meta attacker, but let's still check it out to see where it stacks up in the Steel category and see really where it does sit. Alright, so at the top here, we do have the Mega Metagross with the Bullet Punch and Meteor Mash Calm Day move at 52.59, which is quite crazy. The Shadow form is at 50.42. 50, guys. The entire first page does not include a Registeel here, including the regular Metagross, which is actually 43.61 without the Shadow and the Mega, which is quite crazy. Mega Lucario even makes its way in spot number 9. However, if you do want to see a Shadow Registeel, you can go all the way to the 4th page and check it out in the 3rd spot with the Metal Claw and Flash Cannon at 24.77, and then in the regular in the 49th spot with 21.81. So right off the bat, guys, unfortunately this Pokemon will not be viable as a meta raid attacker, and definitely something I would suggest not powering up at all for that purpose. However, we can look a little bit further for this Pokemon because of how high its defense is, and check it out in GBL. In Great League, it's actually going to be ranked 1 in the non-Shadow. In the Shadow form, it's going to be ranked 20 with the exact same moveset combination of Lock On that charges relatively fast. We are going to go Focus Blast, and then Zap Cannon is the recommended moveset. So quite impressive for that Pokemon. Number 1 in the regular. So this Pokemon actually benefits from not being in the Shadow form because you want this Pokemon to be more tanky than it is in the opposite form. So when it does become Shadow, it becomes a little bit stronger in the attack, a little bit less in the tankiness of this Pokemon. And this Pokemon really shines at how much and how viable it is in the Great League with its stats, as well as its resistances. So this Pokemon is actually going to have a 100% IV at a 2, 13, 14. So you can trade with every Pokemon trainer except for a best friend, because you will have a IV floor that will not allow you to be able to try to get that optimal IV set there. And as far as its key wins in the Great League, we're looking at Bastiodon, which is an extremely hard Pokemon and annoying Pokemon to play against. We have Skarmory, Noctowl, Azumarill, which are all extremely relevant GBL Pokemon, which is definitely going to shake up some things in Pokemon Go. However, it is going to be losing to Swampert, Medicham, Trevenant, and Stunfisk, which is unfortunately because those Pokemon are also extremely strong, so you're going to have to balance out your team with this Pokemon, which then leads us into the Ultra League. In the Ultra League, League. The regular is going to be ranked 1 once again with 100% IVs at a 110-15. So now you cannot trade with Ultra Friends to be able to get this IV ratio potential there. And the Shadow here is going to be ranked 8. So once again, the regular is outranking the Shadow, which is going to have key wins against Cresselia, Obstagoon, Walrein, Talonflame, as well as Giratina Altered. However, it is going to lose to Swampert, Nidoqueen, Excavalier, Scrafty, as well as Trevenant once again. So once again, you're going to have to balance this Pokemon out. And then in the Master League, the regular Registeel is going to be ranked 86. Would I say to catch multiple of these Pokemon for GBL? I would say no. Reason being is that the non-Shadow is outranking. Think about it, guys. If you use Registeel, you want it to be able to last longer because you want to get more movesets off. And since Lock-On does do a relatively good job at charging these a little bit longer, typically charging fast moves, that is very beneficial. However, at the same time, you have to take into account that this Pokemon is, I mean, honestly, you'd probably rather catch a different Shadow Pokemon in Pokemon Go. So what would we recommend doing here? Honestly, for a raid attacker, it's an absolutely not. However, I do have a Schlundo Registeel, so I want to max it out just because it would be cool. And honestly speaking, as far as this PvP Pokemon, the regular one looks a whole lot better. Yes, having a Shadow Registeel is cool, but at the same time, if you don't want it, you can always just do a Shadow Mewtwo first before this comes out, or whatever that is for you. That's my recommendation there. If you guys choose differently or have a different, mindset about this, but just remember, this Pokemon does not have a really good fast move that would benefit from the Shadow, right? That Shadow is, in my mind, when I see Shadow, it's like, does it have a really good combination of a fast charging charge move like Dragon Claw that I can keep getting off, or is it a Dragon Breath or a Charm Pokemon that can really eat up a lot of Pokemon? And it's not really like that. It's save from Lock-On to the charge moves and then deliver the charge moves, which doesn't seem to line up best for this Shadow Pokemon. But let me know what you guys think in Pokemon Go. But those are the stats. Do what you guys want. Love and appreciate you guys as always. To all my likers, comments, subscribers, Patreon members. Everybody takes your support, subscription, takes you guys. Let me see you guys out in the next video. Peace.
I want to take this time to thank everybody who supports me in every facet. It means the world to me, and an extra special thank you to all my Patreons. I greatly appreciate the extra support to continue to allow me to pursue Pokemon Go full time, allowing me to create my daily video uploads in the most timely fashion for everyone's benefit. Plus, I get the amazing experience of sharing my creative processes behind the scenes and raiding all around the globe with select upper tiers. Thank you everybody for being a part of the Trainer Club. You all mean the absolute world to me, and I will see you guys out on the next video.